Right guys, we're in Belfast city centre. As you can see, it's quite busy. We have a loyalist protest just outside the gates here. And I'll see the search and rescue. See guys, very busy today. There's plenty of police about as well.
Please! I know that. Whereas the Bible says that the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against righteousness, and in not even they are passing laws that go against the laws of God. They will all stand before a holy, sinless, and perfect awful day, and they will have to give an account. So will you pray?
Jumping through hoops. Just reading out a few procedures we have in place regarding the protest. We have a risk assessment method statements. I'm not even reading this crap. It is what it is. We're here to fight for our rights and our freedoms. Just want to thank you all for coming today. Once I'm done here, there's a couple of knowledgeable speakers that are going to get up. Before I go any further, I'm sure you're in a crowd here, I would like to address Mr. Moore from a certain Sunday paper. Yeah. Anyway, Mr. Moore, this snowflake is not an anti-vaxxer. I'm as much anti-vaxxer as you are a decent reporter, basically. Over the past few days, I've had the PSN at my home in front of my kids issuing me paperwork that can be perceived as veiled threats. Trying to cut this to 1 hour with threats of prosecution. Where's the law stating a protest is limited to 1 hour? This is no longer public health, guys. You have took a political stance against the people today. Standing here in fear. I have a baby coming here on Wednesday, and so these guys are asking me here that there's a chance I'm going to miss the birth of my son. That's how important this is. Uh, Look, I just want to reach out to the police here. I want you to understand, we're ordinary people, mothers, fathers. We're not here to cause anybody any harm. We're standing here for our kids. These are only following orders, yeah? The people you are here to attack today and bully are the same people that are serving you your coffee tomorrow morning. Be it ordinary people. They're standing for their rights and our freedoms. Sorry guys, I'm shaking here and I'm thinking a wee bit. I'm going to let the professionals go on here, thanks.
Thank you to Sean Snow for organising today. Let's give it up to Sean. Well, I say a massive God bless you to Sean and to your whole family for all you have endured and all you have given to the people of Belfast to give us, we the people, under all this pressure, a voice. Once again, thank you, Sean. Okay. By way of introduction, my name is Jonathan Weissman. I'm a full-time cybersecurity professional here in Belfast, part-time independent biosecurity researcher. I run a website, alltherisk.com. I've written a fully independent biosecurity risk assessment on these jabs. It has never been refuted, not once. I have support from some of the top academics in the world, bar none. The most highly cited professionals and some of the people with 30 plus years in the pharmaceutical industries. I know exactly what I'm talking about and I've never been refuted and I never will. To that end, today I would like to give two questions for us to think about. Question number one, how did we get here? Question number two, where are we? And before that, my final piece of introduction, my website, alltherisk.com, and finally, I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. Let's begin. So where are we today? We find ourselves under unusually strange and coercive pressures from our government to submit to a genetic experiment that enough people have said, no, that's not for me. Well, last time I checked, no means no. If this was any other scenario in life, we would never tolerate it. If this was a man asking a woman out, no. What would we say? No means no. So something's gone badly wrong at this point. So we now have the situation where a peaceful people, law-abiding, who love their families, who love their God, who do everything by the book, are now being shut out of public spaces and restaurants because they've chosen not to submit to a genetic experiment, which, by the way, some of the world's top academics 100% agree with us on. I've done my homework. I can tell you 100% I am with you. So that's the first question, where we are. Second question, how did we get here? Let's do a little bit of history. Remember that virus, COVID-19, that came on the scene? It first appeared, apparently, January 2020. What happened? All the pharmaceutical manufacturers at once made the same decision, the same brainwave. We're going to take the spike protein, that surface protein that mutates the most quickly, and we're going to deploy experimental genetic technology to get all the people to produce the spike protein at once. AstraZeneca, Janssen, Pfizer, Moderna. How come everybody had the same brainwave at the same time? Very interesting. Number two, but if you go into the literature, molecular biology and the research, you find out you better hope the spike protein doesn't end up in your bloodstream. Why? Because the spike protein can bind to platelets in your blood and it can bind to the endothelial cells, the inner lining of your blood vessels. So if it can get into the bloodstream, that will cause clotting events, thrombosis. We'll return to that in a moment. We better hope that doesn't happen. Number three, the clinical trials. So 6 months to give us clinical trials to deploy a product to the entire population. Well, that's very interesting. Remember the figure they told us? 95% reduction in cases, that will end the pandemic. Now take a look, highest case numbers ever. Does that make sense? Well, maybe you should go and study Marek's disease in chickens. If you deploy vaccines that don't stop infection and transmission, you're just going to have positive selection pressure. You'll select the more dominant, virulent strains. This is easy. This is epidemiology. Everyone knows this. So don't listen to Chris Whitty or the government when they play dumb. This is in the literature. Oh, and by the way, in case the government didn't tell you, go and read the British Medical Journal investigation last month on Brooke Jackson and the allegations of malpractice during the clinical trials of Pfizer, which included not closely monitoring for adverse events and targeting the staff of Ventavia who worked with Pfizer to report them. And isn't that what happens? When people report problems, they get into trouble. Secondly, have you heard of Maddie de Garay? 12-year-old girl who suffered a life-changing adverse event. She was a perfectly healthy child. Immediately following her second injection in January 2020, she ends up unable to walk properly, painful electrical shocks. She says, and I quote, "It felt like my heart was coming out through my neck." She's now in a wheelchair with a nasogastric tube on her face. According to Pfizer's website, the vaccine was well tolerated. According to the investigators, there were few serious adverse events and none were considered by the investigators to have been vaccine related. Folks, this is not genuine public health risk management. This is something else. Next, what happened in December 2020? The MHRA, the UK medical regulator, granted Regulation 174 temporary youth authorization to these vaccines. However, going back to the distribution, they said, we don't need studies on the biodistribution, how the thing distributes. They cited general immunologic processes. But an mRNA lipid nanoparticle vaccine is nothing like a traditional one. So we have to answer the question, does it distribute and does it get into the bloodstream? The MHRA said, you don't need to know. Well, I can tell you, we've seen the studies. We have the data from the rats, from the PDMA of Japan released under Freedom of Information request. 16% of the Pfizer injection in the liver, 1% in the spleen, 0.1% in the ovaries, and it was increasing at the cutoff point after 48 hours. Last month, in the Journal of Immunology, a peer-reviewed paper found the spike protein in the bloodstream of human donors receiving Pfizer. It circulated for 4 months. So yes, it is in the bloodstream on something called exosomes, which, yes, that can explain shedding adverse reactions 100%. I challenge anyone to debate me on that topic. And now, we know the spike protein binds to the inner lining of the blood vessels. We know that it binds to platelets causing thrombosis, and we know from transmission electron microscopy it's in the bloodstream 100%. Anyone, feel free to debate me on that. So let's go look at the real world data yellow card scheme. What do you see? Pulmonary embolism, blood clot in the vessels in the lungs. You see heart attack, blood clot in the vessels of the heart, and stroke, blood clot in the vessels leading to the brain, causing reduction in blood and oxygen. Exactly what you'd expect to see. How much more do we need to see before we pull this thing? Instead, what do we see? Aggressive, coercive measures by the government to push it down to all the people and all the age ranges. And this, finally, the vaccine passport is the final step on that journey, to push it down to as many people who said they don't want it, even though no means no.
See you guys.
This cannot go down the age ranges any further. It's gone too far. It can't go any further.
Quite busy here, guys. As you can see, they've cordoned off the road so they have for the facts. This is protest.
As the word says, it can get a bit of hassle from the police, but we have got a legal team that's looking into this and it's against our human rights and pushing here. That's what it is. Well, they did try to get this into the courts this morning, but didn't have enough time. So the plan is we'll be back here New Year's Eve. We'll finish the year in a high, and we're going to double trap.
Take it down.
All I can see is right at the traffic light, right at the traffic light, road traffic light, you're on the top.
And a business owner. I've resided in Northern Ireland now for 21 years, and I'm originally from the United States, Detroit, Michigan originally. The first of these three pillars to embrace our voices and be heard is courage. Courage to stand tall in the face of the odds that has and will come at us in the next few days, months, or years. Courage to say that this is it. This is where I stick the sword in the ground, thinking this is the hill that I'm going to die on. I believe it is, and it's time for us to engage courageously and bravely with those that have attempted this coup d'etat on our personal freedoms.
Yep.
Courage to stand tall and strong, knowing full well that you are a sovereign being, intelligent to ask questions when things don't seem quite right, question authority, and be confident that there is a fantastic body of information out there supporting your decisions as to what happens not only to your body, but to your family, community, country, and humanity. In the movie Braveheart, William Wallace, as portrayed in the final scene, and compassion, I believe, will help bring this to an end sooner than later. The construction of this biosecurity state undermines all of the tenets of Western jurisprudence that up to now have been taken for granted.
The way down the south, because we're fast asleep. Don't you know we're talking about a revolution? Don't you know we're talking about a revolution? Sounds like a whisper while they're standing with their lines, crying for slaves of those armies of salvation, wasting time in the unemployment lines, sitting around waiting for our promotion. Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds rise up, take their share. Who's gonna reap their share? Rise up, get what's theirs. Don't you know you better run, 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 run. Oh, I said you better run, 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 finally the tables started to turn. Talking about a revolution. It's finally the tables starting to turn. Talking about a revolution. Talking about a revolution. While they're standing in the welfare lines, crying at the doorsteps of those armies of salvation, wasting time in the unemployment lines, sitting around waiting for a promotion. Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds
Objective over passport.
rise up, take their share. Who's who's gonna rise up and take what's theirs. Don't you know you better run, 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 run. Oh, I said you better run, 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 run. Finally, the tables are starting to turn. Talk about a revolution. Finally, the tables are starting to turn. Talk about a revolution. So I cry sometimes when I lie in bed just to get up, just to put my head up.
Right guys, that's me finished here in Belfast. So it is. Sorry about the zooming in there. Just we just stay still.
Hey, what's going on your own now? And I said, hey, 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 hey. Said, hey, keep going. And I said, hey, what is going on? And I said, hey, 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 said, hey, what's going on? Gladly, shine your light, Belfast, shine your light.
Right guys, we've got the arms ready, some very important information to get out here, so just give them a wee minute, thank you.
Firstly, before talking a little bit about ARN, it's clear that this is a power grab. Okay? There is a bill, I believe, going through in England at the minute, which is a police bill, and that will eventually try and take away your right to protest. Are we going to accept that? So we all have to fight back, and we all have to come together, okay, to be able to fight what's coming down the tracks. So just a little bit about ARN. So we have put out what's called a legal toolkit for the hospitality sector. It has been written by a lawyer, not by myself, okay? It's hard for me to digest some of it, so bear with me. So, we have a way to fight back against the system, a way to fight back using against the passports, all legally, should I add. So what I'm going to do, okay, first of all, we will be putting out a simplified version tomorrow by 1 o'clock on our Facebook page. So if you're on our Facebook page, it's Advocacy Rights Network, okay? Or you can go to our website, which is advocacyrightsnetwork.co.uk, okay? It'll be there, businesses can download this on their phones, and we can start to empower the people and take the power back. So bear with me, I'll read through this, okay? I'll try and avoid the big words. Okay, so domestic COVID vaccination certification, what do they mean for you? ARN seeks to empower people to advocate on behalf of themselves, their businesses and their customers. We believe it's everybody's right to know the correct interpretation, meaning of regulations and guidance, but more essentially, how they exist and operate in the real world and in this business, in your business. We believe that if businesses and customers alike properly know their rights and obligations, they both can apply the law fairly, without discrimination, to equally ensure customer and executive information service, working within the Department of Finance, there are seemingly contradictions and inaccuracies in what appears to be lawful commands from the surface, through guidance with what the law properly and actually requires people to do. And example is the implication relating to the evidence of a person's COVID status. For example, when we ask for your certificate, we know the regulations do not require a responsible person to so demand nor oblige a customer to so comply. We believe this language, by potentially misrepresenting the intention, not